Guys, the long-awaited battle between Charles Oliveira and Dustin Poirier is going down this Saturday at UFC 269, and our show sponsor, DraftKings, has a special offer for all new customers. Sign up, bet just $1, and win $100 in free bets if either fighter lands a single punch. You heard that right. If either fighter lands a single jab, uppercut, hook, haymaker, donkey punch, any punch. This fight is scheduled for 5 rounds, and I cannot imagine it ends without a single punch being landed, so go sign up right now. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, and best of all, you can withdraw your cash anytime you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code SONNEN. Throw down just $1 on this weekend's UFC main event, and if Poirier or Oliveira land a single punch, you are going to win $100 in free bets. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC. Guys, my official prediction, you got to have an official prediction, right? How do you enjoy a fight if you don't take a stand one way or the other? Particularly if you're me, if you're a fan. If you're a fan, make your bet. Don't be a wimp about it. Don't sit on the fence. Say who you think's going to win the fight. Put a little reputation on the line. Get a little back and forth going with some friends. I'm taking Poirier. I'm not bullish on that. I'm not. Generally, a rule that many bettors, and I'm a bettor, I'm just not a good bettor. Good bettors will follow a rule of who has more ways to win. And if you look at the more way to win scenario, it is definitely Oliveira. As a matter of fact, I think you could back that up to Poirier has one way to win, which is on his feet. And if you break Poirier's stand-up game down, you can break that to left and right hands. Poirier's not going to spinning roundhouse shoe. He's not going to jump in the air and knee you. He'll slip an elbow in like a dirty boxer, and he might give you a knee to the thigh or the gut, but that's not what you have to worry about. You got to worry about a good, solid, slip in, slip out, control distance, lead everything with a jab, punches in the bunches, Western Queensberry rules boxing. Is Poirier a better boxer than Oliveira? I think so. But I can't prove it. And even if it is so, even if I'm right in my guess, it's not by as much as you think. Oliveira is very good. He's got long arms, but he can punch tight. If you go watch that hook that Oliveira put Chandler down with, that was a tight inside left hook that he timed perfectly. But to have the skill to do that, not to mention be able to generate that kind of a power, a lead counter hook, that is shocking. And Oliveira did it like it was nothing. Now, I only bring that to you because if they're very close on their feet, Oliveira is going to be more dynamic, but let's say they're close. Let's say Oliveira is a little better than we think he is, or even the Poirier is not quite as good as we think he is. And Poirier is great, but many people are saying he's the best boxer in all of them. Let's just say that they're a little bit closer. I think it's unlikely that Poirier take Oliveira down. First off, I think that's going to be very hard to do. I don't know that I believe that Dustin, as great of a fighter as I think he is, I don't know that I think he's that great with MMA wrestling. It's good. It's a real threat. He can turn to it when he needs it, but I don't think he can go out there with a game plan heavy of take him down. So let's just say that he does go for some takedowns and some get stuffed. Who's more likely to end up on top of the other? If Dustin gets on top of Oliveira, I'm not sure or sold on the idea that he can do a lot of damage. If Oliveira gets on top of Poirier, I don't believe Poirier can get up. I believe Oliveira can do a lot like what Khabib did, which is to smother him, which is to keep him down, to get wrist control, to off-balance him, to bother him just enough to eat up at least that round, thus winning that round. So I'm picking Poirier. What I just said you probably sounds anti-Poirier. It's not anti-Poirier. It's a recognition of what a very close fight we have. And under a general prediction circumstance, following the rule of which athlete has more ways to win, it's not Dustin. I do believe that Dustin's game plan is to stay on his feet. It's going to be to beat him up. It's going to be to bludgeon him. That plan is going to work if there is a gap between your skills and your opponents. Now, that is a gamble and a guess in the best of scenarios. The same as I don't know who the better stand-up fighter is, they don't either. And while the world seems to favor Dustin and give him compliments like he's the best boxer in all of mixed martial arts, with what evidence? I mean, how do we prove that? How do we quantify that? And is good boxing better than good Muay Thai? Oliveira is much more likely to kick you in the stomach. He's much more likely to kick you in the mouth. He's much more likely to tie clinch and throw some knees and work elbows in than Dustin is. So then you're stuck with the age-old question that they attempted to solve in 1993, which was what happened if you put a Muay Thai fighter against an MMA fighter, right? I mean, or a boxer. It's one of these things. It's a major throwback fight. And does anybody disagree with me? Do we all agree that it is likely that Dustin's plan is to keep this on his feet and pick him apart? Because Dustin does very well with this body type. Oliveira is a lot taller than you guys think, and he's a lot longer than you guys are aware. But Poirier does a great job with those guys. Poirier gets inside and slips inside without taking damage better than anybody. Most great boxers that get inside take damage doing it. They're just willing to walk through it. That Mike Tyson or that George Foreman, George was willing to take a few punches to give you one. And he was so powerful, a lot of times that game worked out. But in MMA, it's very different to do that, and Poirier does it better than anyone. Poirier will get inside and go to your body without taking some of that damage. So I feel we can back this fight up a little bit. I feel we need to really slow this down. Who's going to win? Oliveira or Poirier? Okay. How? And that's where the problem starts to come. And that's where you start to see no one here is getting their ass kicked. Nobody here is getting dominated. We have a very, very close fight on the physicality. So then you must turn to the mentality. Both guys are under the same pressure, which is what goes up must come down. And both of these guys are in a bit of a down. There will never be a night like the night, and I'm talking Oliveira here, that you win a world championship. There will never be a night like the night where you were given the opportunity to win a world championship. So whatever you do next is going to be a little bit down. Big as this fight is, it's still down. But look at it from Poirier's standpoint. There's nothing as big as Red Panty Night with Conor McGregor. And he got that not only once, he got that twice. So even if you put a belt, it's still going to be down just a little bit. How do they deal with that? Do they have the same motivation? If both of their motivation has been reduced, and we're splitting hairs here, if it's been reduced, whose has been reduced more? It's very tough. Poirier is consistent. He is going to perform every night, win some, lose some, but he's going to bring his best skills. I cannot say that about Oliveira. Oliveira, no matter how focused and how well he comes out, at some point in 25 minutes, will shut down. He'll turn back on if you let him, but he will give you an opportunity to beat him. He has done that in every single fight with every single opponent, no matter how much better he's been. He will provide you an opportunity to beat him. He will question, how bad do I want to be here? Okay, let me get out. Oh my gosh, what was I thinking? I don't get out, I fight back. But there's that brief instant. My coach, Roy Pittman, back when we were kids, would always talk to us about a split second. In the world of wrestling, how long a split second is. If you lose your focus for a moment, how detrimental that would be. And some kids, particularly the newer ones, not the veterans, didn't understand. Split second, that? Nothing bad could happen like that. And Coach Pittman would say, if you don't think a tenth of a second is a long time, go home, turn your stove on, wait till that burner is red, and set the side of your cheek on it for a tenth of a second, then come back and tell me that's not a long time. And I only bring it to you because I'm splitting hairs here. Oliveira's fantastic, guys. But to sit here and say he's fantastic, we don't have a lot to talk about. You got to be critical. It's the two sides of a coin. And yes, I can shine him up beautifully, and he is the king of the toughest division in the sport. The other side of the coin, he will give Poirier an opportunity at some point to win the fight. I cannot tell you that Poirier is going to have that same offering. Poirier is very stubborn. He's very focused. He's very deliberate. That's why he's my pick. But I will also predict this is a long, hard night for both of them.